Welcome to episode 2 of Broken to Better. Just to recap, I'm Josh, I'm 42, and this is the raw, unapologetic, just full on my journey through health, wellness, and weight loss. And being this is the second episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about where I started back in January of 2025 to where I am at August 25th, 2025. This is only the second episode, so obviously I just started doing this. So if you haven't seen the first video, just a quick recap. I made a lot of changes, a lot of life changes, changed my lifestyle, and I just want to put out a real, authentic diary, if you will, of my journey and what it's been. So let's start back in January because that's where it all started. Now, I wish I could say I woke up one day and I just did that, I'm going to start going to the gym. Didn't happen. I wish I could say I just woke up with the willpower. Didn't happen. I've had help, a lot of help. So basically in January, looking back, and if I'm being honest with myself and honest with you, I was waiting to die. I'm just going to say it like that. And one day I did the look. I can either continue as is or I can do things to make my life better. Luckily, the industry that I'm in, I've gotten to know some very great providers. With that being said, I just want to put this out there. I'm going to preface this. This is not medical advice. This is not an advice of any kind. This is just my journey, my story, and what I did. There is one thing that I will say, though. If you are thinking about starting a health, wellness, weight loss journey, doesn't matter, I would highly, highly suggest seek out a functional medicine provider, a wellness clinic, something. I mean, insurance does not work with these folks, but they are medical professionals. They are licensed, and they don't want to treat illnesses. They want to treat people, and that's a big difference. So this all started. I picked up a phone and I called somebody that I trusted in a healthcare provider that I trusted. And I was asking for just advice. Like, how do you go about picking the right provider, this, that, and the other? And, fair being fair, she was, brutally honest, but she said, look, let me help you. If you're comfortable, I'll be your provider. I think I know what's wrong and I think I can help you. And so I agreed. And so I started with a blood test and testing hormone levels, CBC, the metabolic panel, cholesterol, all that stuff. It took about a week to get that back. And the results that came back were kind of shocking in the sense that my cholesterol was actually really good. I don't have all the numbers pulled up, but my total cholesterol was like 136, 138. The only thing bad about my cholesterol was my HDL, and that's the good cholesterol. My HDL was low, and it's still low. I'll talk about that. But that was very positive. But the one thing that the blood test did show was that my hormones were all over the place. So I started what was called TRT, she started me on what's called TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and a peptide regime. One thing I'm going to say, again, not advice, I'll just say this. If you're thinking about doing peptides, you can buy, anybody can buy peptides online for experimental purposes. Don't. See a healthcare provider. Make sure you do it right. So I started TRT. The peptides that I'm on is tesamorelin, kisspeptin, and BPC-157. And just a real quick recap, BPC-157 just helps your body with muscular skeletal repair. It's more this is just a very high overview. So if anybody that knows about peptides comes and watches this, this is just an 80,000 foot view. Kisspeptin basically tries to get my body to produce testosterone naturally. Tesamorelin is a little bit more complicated, but in a nutshell, it helps reduce fat and visceral fat, and it also helps reduce inflammation around the cardiovascular system. I will say this: it's not like a GLP-1 though. If you're on tesamorelin, you got to work for it. It's the only way it works. But other than that, my supplement stack: vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, and a compound vitamin or a complex vitamin B. That's it. That's all I take. No GLP-1s, no Mounjaros, Ozempic, none of that. Changes to my diet. Chicken and vegetables. I cut out as much processed food as possible. Sugar, especially refined sugar. I eat honey, and I eat it every day, but a teaspoon a day. But processed sugars, refined sugars, I don't eat. Carbs, bare minimum. Now look, I love me some spaghetti, and I won't eat spaghetti Monday through Friday. And if I have spaghetti on Saturday, I won't eat it again until the next month. The honey thing, there's some interesting benefits and things that are coming out through some research about honey. I'm going to save that for kind of its own video. And then, lifestyle, I guess you can say, is the next big change that I made. Walking. I did not start going to the gym until about 3-ish months ago, maybe a little bit over 3 months ago. Before that, I just walked more, or I would go outside more. Little things, like if I had to go to the store, I would park further away just to have to walk a little bit more. If there was something that I forgot to grab but I didn't absolutely need, I go back and grab it. Just little things. When I got home after work, instead of going and sitting in my computer chair and playing video games, I'd go walk outside or go walk around my yard or pace in my driveway or talk on the phone, but outside, upright, walking. And again, one of the huge things that I did was making the conscious decision to start using the tools available. So Apple Health, I had Apple products and the Apple Watch, and I'm really using it because it's data driven, right? Every little thing that I look at, it's a chunk of data, and it's not in my head. It's raw, real numbers. So overall, starting in January to where I'm at today, and my latest blood test, my latest blood test, for example, I will say, like, all those changes that I made has brought my cholesterol down even lower. Not that it was in any harm, but it came down even lower. My A1C dropped dramatically. Like, I'm at like a 5.4, which is perfectly in the normal range. And my hormones are a little bit more unbalanced. They're still not exactly where they need to be. That takes time. That can take 6-8 months to get right, especially as my body is kind of rebuilding itself, as it's changing, as things are happening. But for the first time in a very long time, I feel very, very good. Last week I took the week off from gym. I'm dying to get back into the gym again. So, again, that's kind of how I got to where I am. Like I said, I didn't do it alone. I do give a lot of credit to my healthcare provider, and I wish I could give a shout out, but I can't for a few reasons. But maybe one day I will be able to. And getting on TRT is probably one of the best decisions I ever made. It really does. It has changed just how I look at things. Even at work. Sometimes I eat a lot of stress at work, and I don't mean that literally, but, and it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. And, before January, like, when I think back to last year, I would get these bouts of just depression and really bad places, and because I was stressed out at work. But now I'm still stressed out, but not nearly as much, and I have a different take on it. It's like, let's just start solving problems one at a time, and we'll just knock them out one by one. So that's really, where I'm at. And again, I just want to reiterate, like, you probably see me looking over here. Nothing that I'm going to do on these videos is ever scripted. I just have bullet points, trying to keep my thoughts in order. Um, I'm, these should never, ever, ever be polished videos. It's just going to be me talking about my journey and how I got here. I'm going to do another episode this week. So episode 3 is just going to be like a weekly recap, or a recap of what I did over the week. Because while I didn't go to the gym, I still was active. I still did, I worked some bees. I'll explain that in another video. So even though, like, I took some downtime, I wasn't sitting around. I was still active. I was just less active than normal. And I want to talk about kind of how I went through that, or how my body reacted to it, I should say. But anyway, again, this is what's got me to where I'm at. The journey's far from over. And, I do very much plan just to keep sharing, and, anything that, anybody that comes across these videos, if you want to know, hit me up in the comment section. I'll tell you. And again, hopefully, if you're thinking about starting a journey like this for yourself, I highly recommend that you do it, but do it right. Don't set yourself up for failure. See somebody. Get those hormones checked, man, woman, doesn't matter. Do it intelligently, right? So anyway, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.